Okay, so I get this question quite often. Do you have any tips and tricks of how to be an aggressive Boba Fett player in Star Wars Battlefront 2? Well, I do. I made this nice big script on how to do it. And the first thing I will say is allocate your on the hunt with your main fuel source. Either or. You either use your on the hunt as your main get around sort of thing. Do not and have your main fuel as a secondary approach if you need to escape. It's either you have on the hunt as your main dodging attacking thing, and then you have your main fuel if you need it. And my next thing is do not underestimate his E3. Practice your headshots. Your headshot is very easable, and he is very controllable with his E3. Do not underestimate that gun. It is extremely good. And I'd say, and it's very controllable. It's not like Phasma's gun where it has a recoil curve at the start of firing, and then it slims down his recoil. His E3 has virtually no recoil whatsoever, so there is no reason why you cannot hit a headshot with Boba Fett, unless if you're flying. But you gotta practice that as well. If you are in the air and you are midway through in the air, you gotta practice locking onto that person. It's not actually that hard to do. You just gotta get some practice with it. And I would say learn how your enemies play, because some players may need more caution than others. Either being a blaster that can be a blaster that can actually aim, or being a Jedi that can gain ground quickly, or using dodges to gain its ground quickly. I would Now, with fighting a Jedi, it can either be the easiest kill you could possibly get or your hardest kill. Analyze their playstyle. If he is a defensive player, then stay erratic, but keep your eye on your fuel supply, as they will wait for you to run out of fuel. And like keep your eye on that fuel supply. You do not want to waste your fuel at all when fighting a defensive player. And check your allocation, like I previously mentioned, with your on the hunt and your main fuel source. And before these defensive players come in from Ray players are typically Ray and Obi-Wan are typically very defensive. I noticed, like, when fighting Jedi, they are the most defensive players you'll fight against usually. Typically, they are. You want to stay on the ground for as long as you possibly can. If you have ever seen Star Wars Attack of the Clones when watching Jango Fett fight Obi-Wan, you didn't notice that Jango Fett was literally just flying around everywhere the whole fight. No, he stayed on the ground. Yeah, I know, I fucking referenced a Star Wars movie. But use that idea. Stay on the ground for as long as you can. When somebody gets a little too much ground on you, do a little jump. Is all you need. A jump to get far enough away from the person. Rinse, repeat. They will eventually probably either get pissed off and break their defensive playstyle entirely, or they'll just keep playing defensively. And now with a 2v2 or a 4v4 or any multiple fighting, just say you're fighting 4 lightsabers, I'll get into like fighting combos later. Now during a 4v4 event or a 2v2 or a 1v2, I'm going to say 1v4 or 1v2, this starting is where you need to test the waters, see who is defensive. Now, a 1v4 is not a 1v4 without an aggressive player. I'll tell you that 1v4, not all 4 players are going to be blocking you. They're going to have confidence in going in there for the kill. Yes, they're going to see that you're by yourself. Now you got to test the waters, see who's the aggressive player is in this situation. That either being an Anakin, a Luke. You got to see who's the aggressive one. You got to see the aggressor in this situation. And there's usually part of the team is being defensive, while one of the teammates or one or two of them are being flat out aggressive. You take out the aggressive one first. Believe me, it's not that hard. All you gotta do is keep your aim true and just aim at their fucking heads. And trust me, they'll either jump around like a fucking idiot trying to hit you, which I'll tell you, if you're fighting a Jedi and a Jedi jumps, that is a fucking treat right there, because the moment that Jedi jumps, if you got your headshots good and you know how to use his E3 perfectly with headshots, I'll tell you, you are gonna, it's gonna be a fucking treat. You're gonna take a good chunk of his health just because of just hitting his headshots. You gotta make sure you have your aiming true. You gotta master that E3. Because you're not gonna be able to use your rocket barrage all the time. And I'm not advocating for people to go up into one stupid ass spot and camp the whole game and wait for a rocket barrage, because that's a fucking stupid thing to do. But you gotta take out that aggressive player first. You don't, because once it's a 1v4 situation or 1v3, you are gonna, some of the people in there are just going to adopt a very careless play style. They're not going to care. They're just going to go at you. And you got to make sure that you're ready for that. It may be overwhelming at first, but that's how you die. Is because you get overwhelmed. You get overwhelmed and you do stupid shit. But if you don't do stupid shit and you play it cautiously while at the same time taking care of the aggressive players, boom, next thing you know, you just fucking team wiped them. Now, use your emotes. This may be considered a dirty tactic, but you want to invoke an aggressive play style out of a defensive player. While dodging their attacks, of course. It may get them a bit angry, but then they'll adopt a careless playstyle. And thus you could probably get a couple headshots in before they notice that they're ready and they're about to die. And then by the time that they're low on health, they'll start panicking, because people tend to panic when they're low on health. So then they'll make rash decisions. You gotta wait for them to make that rash decision, and then once they make that rash decision, you go in for the kill. I'm not going to tell you guys how to use this jetpack, because I can't tell you guys how to use it. You gotta learn yourselves. It's a play style. It's not something that you can just up and learn. You gotta know how to do it yourself. Now, with fighting those blasters, I tell you, the easiest targets tend to be Leia, Han, and Lando. If you are erratic and you do a lot of overheads, which that's one thing I'm going to tell you, that's one of the few things I'll tell you with the jetpack. Do overheads. People underestimate what you got to do about overheads. Unless you're using a mouse and keyboard, people cannot counter an overhead with a controller. They can't. You can only aim up so far. Boba Fett allows you to do a lot of overheads with them. And, well, I'll tell you what you have to do is they'd be like, okay, I gotta move my analog stick up, and then they're like, well, fuck, you went over. So then they gotta move their analog stick around to where they think you are. You gotta use a lot of overheads and be very erratic with with blasters. Blasters can also be your easiest kills. Can be, provided they can aim or not. You gotta see if they can aim. If they can't, then easy kill. If they can't, then I guess you're going to have to just rocket barrage them. Rocket barrage is the thing that is your last resort. If it's a Jedi, use it anyways, honestly. If it's a fucking Jedi, you want to take them out quick. So, sure, you'll dodge the shit out of them, and sure, you'll be able to actually dodge them, but you want to take them out quick still, because they can do a lot of damage if you forget about their existence and they sneak up on you. They could do a lot of damage. So, use your rocket barrage on Jedi, but if you have to, use it on blasters. But only if you have to. Do not use it if you know that you could just outgun them. It's a waste of an ability, and you may need it like immediately after. You may need that rocket barrage immediately after. But you can naturally confuse them if you do overheads with Boba Fett. You can confuse them. Just saying. And if they become too much, learn when somebody's a little too much for you at the moment. Learn it. Reason why a lot of people die in Star Wars is because they do not understand their limits. It just say somebody's hitting a few headshots on you. Do not just stand there and keep the fight going. You are Boba Fett. You could just get out of there. Same thing with Kylo Ren, kind of. Same thing with all the fast characters. You could get out of there. Get out of there if you do not. Just get out of there if somebody's a little too much. Reevaluate, and if they're a little too much, sneak up on them. On the hunt takes you off radar. You could sneak up on them, and people don't tend to hear your jetpack coming. So, because admittedly Boba Fett's jetpack is a bit too quiet. So people don't tend to hear it coming anyways. So just on the hunt and sneak up on them. Rocket barrage them if you have to. Only rocket barrage people if you have to rocket barrage them. Do not rocket barrage them if you don't have to. Just saying. And now, when it comes down to fighting the tough ones, the really tough ones, ooh, here comes Finn and Chewbacca, the hardest characters definitively for Boba Fett to kill is Finn and Chewbacca. Not Anakin, no. Finn and Chewbacca. Chewbacca, because every middle bolt takes him out of the air. So once you hit him with the middle bolt, he could spam you with the middle bolt because admittedly he has 5 bolts and he only has to hit the middle one, and that's pretty easy. Now what I would recommend to do is sneak up on Chewie. Just sneak up on him, headshot him, rocket barrage him, do whatever you need to do to take out a Chewbacca player. They are hard to kill. Most of them have 850 health because most people are now over level 25 with every character. So most of them will have like 850. So they'll take a while to kill, but you're gonna need to do it because they will kill you. Always stay in a big, wide open area when fighting Chewbacca. Never go out into a tight area with Chewbacca. Because if you're in a tight area, that means Chewbacca's up close, and that means he can just spam you on the ground every time you try and be erratic with that jetpack. And you're going to get fucked if you get spammed. Now, if you are fighting a Finn, kind of the same thing, but watch what Finn does. If you see his arm go up, either if he has a little amount of health, just take the fucking Deadeye like a man. If he has a little amount of health left. But if, just say he has over half, just get the fuck out of there. Just get the fuck out of there and get into cover. And wait for Finn to fight someone else. Wait for that Deadeye to get locked onto someone else, or wait for that Deadeye to either wear off. Because it'll probably wear off, I think, in about 10 seconds. So wait 10 seconds. If Finn has half health, and you see his arm go up, get out of there. The health isn't worth it. The 100 hit points you get for killing him is not worth it. Sure, you can kill a half health Finn when he has Deadeye active, if you hit all your headshots, or if you rocket barrage him, but it is not worth the damage output that you are taking to fight him like that. Or if you fight him when he instantly whips out that Deadeye, you gotta just watch how Finn plays. Finn requires more concentration to fight with Boba Fett than any other character. He requires a lot of concentration blaster-wise. He is the hardest blaster to kill. When it comes down, you just gotta concentrate to what he does. And if you just do what I say, if you see, and if he's like close to one shot, or if he has like, those little bars, each one of those bars is 100 hit points. If you see like maybe 2.5 bars, I'd say just take the Deadeye and just either rocket barrage him or headshot him, and there you go. Yeah, probably gonna kill him and take less damage than he's gonna give, and you're probably gonna get all your health back in the process of taking that damage. Now with 1v4ing or 1v3ing lightsaber blaster combos, I'd say take your tips I just told you about fighting blasters and take out the blaster first. Always take out the blaster. Do not worry about the lightsaber later. Always take out the blaster. This comes up with any character. Always take them out first. I cannot stress it enough. I tell my friends, guys, take the blaster out first. The blasters are the tough ones. The blasters are the tough link. They're what makes a light side team really fucking good. With Boba Fett, It's what makes a light side team good. Because Boba Fett, you gotta, I would say, I'd say this would be the only exception to instantly rocket barraging a blaster. Is if you are put in a situation where you have to fight multiple blasters at once. Is the only exception to fighting them. Is when you have to fight multiple blasters at once. Or a lightsaber blaster combo like I just previously mentioned. Always take the blasters out first. And now I didn't mention this before, but if a lightsaber is one shot, if you see he has one little bar left or a little more than one little bar, not a little bit more, no more than 200 health. If you see a lightsaber and you have more than 300 hit points as Boba Fett, just jump down there and take the lightsaber swing like a fucking man. Because you will probably kill him in one burst, and he'll be stupid enough to swing at you and try and do something. He will be stupid enough to try that, but he will be close to death. So one little headshot burst, and he's kind of fucked. And trust me, it's not going to be that hard to aim because you're going to be right up in his fucking face. Do not be afraid to get up in the face of a lightsaber. But if you have less than 300 hit points, I would not recommend doing it at all because it wouldn't be worth the risk of taking some damage yourself. Because you'd probably either die or you'd take more damage than you'd not get your health back at all. Your main goal is always keeping a stable health balance with Boba Fett. Is your main goal. I cannot teach you guys how to use the jetpack. I can only give tips on how to fight certain characters, but I cannot teach you guys how to use a jetpack. You gotta learn that type of shit yourself. You gotta learn how to be erratic yourself. I can't tell you, oh, hold down this button, and it's not like a cheat code sort of thing. You gotta learn the erratic playstyle yourself. I think the way I use Boba Fett and how I only know 3 other people that use him the way I do, I think is the true way that DICE intends you to use Boba Fett. Do not use him in any other way. If you do, I really don't respect people that do that. I really don't. It's really a scummy thing to do if you do that. Because, it upsets me to see people that literally just camp on top of a hard-to-reach spot and just do nothing while waiting for a rocket barrage is the scummiest way to play as Boba Fett. It really is. I'm hoping that this video inspires some people to actually adopt an aggressive playstyle with Boba Fett. You will not listen or watch this video, and you will not just log into Battlefront 2 immediately after and start annihilating people. This requires months of practice. Well, not months, probably I'd say good 3 weeks to practice. It requires you practice. You cannot just get on and instantly do good after this video. You can't. You gotta adopt this playstyle. It's like any other playstyle. You just gotta adopt it and figure out how it works. I can only give tips on what to do. If you have any questions about this playstyle or have anything you would like to add to this playstyle, then feel free to leave it in the comments below. Or if you want to say how much of a piece of human garbage I am for using Boba Fett, feel free to also leave that in the comments below. If you liked the video, then go ahead and like it. If you don't, then go ahead and don't like it and then just yell at me for abusing Boba Fett. See you guys.